If all you did this year was become more aware, that is not small. Awareness changes the lens you are living through. And you know what it means? It means 2026, it's going to be different. Even if your life doesn't look radically different yet, I have spoken with so many listeners now who, because of this work or the work that this has complemented that you've already done, have found a new therapist. Maybe they started working with me. They set boundaries they've never set before, left relationships that were hurting them, changed careers, or simply stopped abandoning themselves in the same ways. Welcome to Grow with Robin Breckenridge, a podcast about stepping into the most fully expressed, aligned, and conscious version of yourself. Here, we dive into the real work of personal growth, establishing boundaries, understanding your patterns, building self-trust, healing emotional wounds, and creating relationships that feel safe, authentic, and fulfilling. I'm Robin, a life and relationship coach, and in each episode, we'll explore the tools, insights, and conversations that will help you not just improve your life and relationships, but truly transform them. You don't have to just go through it. Let's grow through it, and let's do it together. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the podcast. If you are listening to this in live time, the holidays are here, and I'm about to hop on a flight tomorrow morning, bright and early, to go spend the holidays in Hawaii with my family. I'm so excited, but I didn't feel right about something. I thought I can't leave my people from this podcast without talking about two big things that are coming up for most of us: the holidays and the new year. So I am pre-recording 2 episodes, one you're listening to right now, one you're going to listen to next week. This one, we're going to take an inventory of the past year, 2025, and we're going to take as much learning from it as we can. And then next week, we're going to talk about the new year and setting some intentions for what we want to call in for this upcoming year. So whether you celebrate Christmas, another holiday, or none at all, I want to begin this episode by saying there is no right way to feel right now. This time of the year has a way of intensifying whatever is already present within us. For some people, it feels warm and nostalgic. For others, it might feel heavy, lonely, or activating. And for some, it's a mix of all of it. And there's something that I definitely want to name in this episode. If you've been doing deeper emotional work, which probably most of you are that have been continually listening to this podcast, if your awareness has grown, if you're more attuned to your nervous system than you were before, then the holidays can feel a little harder, not easier. There's a saying in this work that sometimes it gets harder before it gets better. And what that means is not to bum you guys out. It just means that when we're more aware, when we're more connected to our feelings and our truth, we're feeling more. And a lot of us have been on the run from our feelings, and now we're attuned to them. So keep in mind, if this holiday season might feel a little harder or a little bit more activating, it doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. It really means that you're more honest and more awake than you've ever been. And it can feel worse before it feels better because you're no longer numbing, minimizing, or bypassing what's true. And during the holidays, that truth can include grief. So before we move into reflecting on this past year, I just want to pause and acknowledge something. That this season can bring up grief in many forms. You might be grieving someone you've lost, a relationship that ended, a family dynamic that you wish was different, a version of the season that you had hoped for. dreams you once had for your family, your partnership, or your life. You might be sitting at tables with empty chairs or navigating the holidays alone for the first time. Maybe you're spending them in a way that you never imagined and isn't ideal. And even if no one else sees that grief, your nervous system does. Grief doesn't always look like tears. Sometimes it looks like exhaustion, irritability, numbness, or a quiet sadness that lingers in the background. If there are people missing this season, people you love, people you expected to be here, or versions of relationships that never became what you hoped, I want you to know it makes sense that this hurts. Nothing is wrong with you for feeling this way. And if no one else understands, I do. So remember, grief is a tough one. We can't just shift out of it. But what we can do is take care of ourselves while the grief is up. So I'm going to give an ongoing invitation for anyone who is experiencing any form of grief this year. And I'm going to give an invitation for anyone who is experiencing grief. It's okay to take care of yourself. It's okay to be kinder to yourself, to say no to more things, to honor your bandwidth, because how you feel matters. So let's hop into what this episode is about. Today's episode is not about forcing gratitude. It's not about silver linings or finding meaning too quickly. It's definitely not an inventory of how productive you were this year. It's not a highlight reel that we're going to post on Instagram. Not a comparison to where you thought you'd be. This is an emotional inventory because 2025 was not meant to be conquered. It was meant to be lived through. So instead of asking questions like, did I do enough? Why am I not further along? I want to invite you to shift your perspective. We are going to look back on this year and acknowledge what you did well, what was in alignment, and what came up that was purpose-driven so we can learn and grow from it. There are no wrong answers here, only awareness. So before I share the questions, I want to be really clear about something. This is not a performance review. This is not about what you accomplished or failed to do. So as you listen, I want you to practice something important. Curiosity over judgment. Whatever comes up, let it be data. Remember, awareness is the win here. Repair can come later. Remember, awareness is the win here. And we have different tools. Trust me, you're not going to be the same person starting 2026 as you were when you started 2025. So either hit the pause button after these questions, get a journal out, and go ahead and get writing. You can just listen to this and think about the answers. There is no right or wrong way to do this. Question number 1. What helped me feel more connected to myself this year? It's not what impressed other people, not what made you look good on paper, just what brought you back into connection with you. Question number 2. How did I take care of myself this year, even in small micro ways? This isn't about doing self-care right. I can tell you, healing, not a straight line. Self-care, also not a straight line. You'll fall off, you'll pick it back up. It's about noticing where you showed up for yourself in ways that you were kind. So I want you to think about this. We have a flashlight in our hand at any time. Whatever we shine that light on is what's illuminated. So if we only look back and consider what we didn't do right or enough, that's a wrong focus. Right now, I want you to shine that light of consciousness on where you did show up for yourself at all. Question number 3, where did I ignore or neglect myself? And what did that show me? Just last week, I did an episode on emotional neglect. And in that episode, I said what was done to us. So if you experienced any type of neglect or emotional neglect, we will do to ourselves. This is probably something that everybody can answer. There's somewhere in your life where you could be showing up more for yourself. Question number 4. When things were emotionally difficult, how did I treat myself? This is a hugely important question. This whole entire podcast is about being kinder to yourself and building more self-trust. So if you get activated and you are critical, dismissive, mean, rigid, those are the places we want to lovingly step into for 2026. Number 5, what is one thing that no longer feels aligned with me as this year ends? Now remember, it doesn't have to be because it's bad, but it's likely because you've changed. You've gotten healthier. So I want you to look back and just think, remember, like our nervous system, our emotions tell us what's aligned or not aligned. So if we're looking back and you are carrying resentment, anger, fear, any of the challenging feelings, it's probably an indicator from your nervous system that you're not in alignment. So look back this year and kind of think of what doesn't feel in alignment for me anymore. Question number 6. What did I learn about boundaries this year that I want to carry forward? So think about, what did you learn about your limits, your needs, and honoring your bandwidth? Question number 7. What is one way I learned to connect with my inner child or inner teen this year? Even if it was small, it deserves acknowledgement. And finally, question number 8. What is a pattern I'm ready to leave in 2025? For me, that pattern of overfunctioning, it's toast. I'm tired. I don't want to do it anymore. So that's one I'm really going to focus on in 2026 because overfunctioning doesn't feel good for me anymore. I don't like it. So as you sit with these questions and the answers that you've come up with, I want to name something important. If all you did this year was become more aware, that is not small. Awareness changes the lens you are living through. And you know what it means? It means 2026, it's going to be different. Even if your life doesn't look radically different yet, I have spoken with so many listeners now who, because of this work or the work that this has complemented that you've already done, have found a new therapist. Maybe they started working with me. They set boundaries they've never set before, left relationships that were hurting them, changed careers, or simply stopped abandoning themselves in the same ways. And I know there are so many of you whose shifts might be more quiet, but are just as powerful. But for all of you, your relationship with yourself is starting to change and improve. And that matters. So as I'm taking an inventory for the past year, I just want to take a moment and acknowledge you, because listening to this podcast is not a passive thing. It is an action. And getting curious is not nothing. It's life-changing. It has been such an honor to connect with so many of you. I truly never really thought I would have a podcast or maybe even a platform where I would be able to connect with so many amazing people from all over the world. And I literally pinch myself now every time I sit behind this microphone and think of what to share every week. My dream has always been pretty simple: to help people suffer less, to help people live more consciously, and to help people feel safer inside of themselves. And we're doing it. Not alone, because you guys are inspiring me so much. We're doing it together. So as this year comes to a close, you don't need to rush into becoming someone new. You just need to keep showing up for yourself and move forward wiser than you were before. Let this podcast continue to be a soft landing, a pause, a moment of honesty and compassion. And if you take one question with you as you move forward, let it be this one: how do I take care of myself while I feel like this? Not how do I get out of this feeling? Not how do I fix it? Just how do I stay with myself here? I am so glad you're here. I can't imagine that there is anything more powerful than you can give anyone other than your time. And everyone who has given your time to this podcast, I am deeply grateful. I'm so glad you're here. I'm proud of you for doing this work. And I'll see you next week. That's it for today's episode. Thank you so much for being here and for doing this work. If this episode resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Come connect with me over on TikTok at Robin Breckenridge or Instagram at Coach with Robin, where I share even more insights, tools, and conversations around boundaries, self-trust, relational healing, and so much more. And just a quick reminder, this podcast is for educational and personal growth purposes only. The insights and tools I share are based on my experience as a life and relationship coach and are meant for general guidance. Each person's story is unique, and the nuances of individual experiences can't always be addressed in this format. What's shared here may not be applicable to every situation, especially those involving abuse, oppression, severe mental illness, or systematic harm. If you or someone you know is in crisis, please seek support from a qualified mental health professional or emergency resources. Thank you for listening and for showing up for yourself in this way. Take care, and I'll see you next time.